Welcome to Speaking Cinema, serious movie jibber jabber, a movie podcast coming to you live from Hollywood, California, where Circus Liquor Store is just a quick ride up to 101.
It's there, little Burbank.
Or you take it over the hill, Laurel Canyon. Don't get off.
Stay there.
Stay there.
Stay focused. That 101 is deceptive.
Follow us on social media at Speaking Cinema. Listen to us jibber jabber every single Monday, same bad time, same bad channel. I am your host, Frederick Nietzsche, reading Cool Kid Mr. Jibber Jabber in my shitty sneakers with my shitty flannel. Hosting with me today, as always, the overworked Beverly Hills lawyer with the predominant butt chin, or chin butt, depending, potato potato.
Wherever you come from.
Kev.
That's me.
We're continuing our Grab by the Girly season this week, taking a deep dive into some movies geared towards and chosen by those with 2 chromosomes. Ladies.
2 X chromosomes.
Oh, yeah. Everyone has 2 chromosomes.
Yeah.
Ladies have 2
I hope
X
everybody's
chromosomes.
got 2 chromosomes.
There's some people who have 3. I mean, it's a condition that I don't have a medical expertise to speak on it, but anyways.
Talking chromosome talk.
And this week we're talking sex, clothes, popularity, whatever. 1995's Clueless.
Strange tagline.
Strange in that it's terrible.
Yeah.
Starring Alicia Silverstone, Paul Rudd, Brittany Murphy, Donald Faison, Stacey Dash, Breckin Meyer, Wallace Shawn, and David Hideo?
Dan Hedaya.
Dan Hideo. What did I say?
David Hedaya.
And what was he in? Nothing. He doesn't exist.
He is a nobody.
Written and directed by Amy Heckerling, based on the 1815 novel Emma by Jane Austen. Produced and distributed by Paramount Pictures. If you're not familiar, Cher, a Beverly Hills high school student, navigates her way through life. Love, malls, fashion, popularity, and the ups and downs of an adolescence in the 90s. I feel like these official synopses all mention popularity as something that's very key to this.
True. And also, I just wrote that one, so.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I write my own synopsis.
I take it from my IMDb, but I
know
credit.
you do.
I credit.
It, so.
Also, I like it a lot better when you write these, Kev.
You know what?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think, and if I'm being honest with the listeners, I think the listeners agree too. Many big stars of today auditioned for the roles in this film when they were perhaps not as big stars as they are today. Names that have come to mind: Reese Witherspoon, Jeremy Renner, Zooey Deschanel, and Owen Wilson all auditioned for roles, didn't make the cut. Acting, there is no prize for second place on an audition.
No, there's not.
Jeremy Renner, though, interesting that he's just been around forever.
Just never quite got that big franchise of his own. They tried to give him Bourne. They Jay Leno'd him out of Bourne.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's like what do they say? It's a 20-year overnight sensation.
Yep.
Exactly. It's like I think
I
he was working as a makeup artist for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Also, Kev, if you had to do your life over again, would you choose a different career path?
I like where I'm at.
I think I would try to get into hair and makeup on film sets.
That seems like it'd be a fun job. So.
I feel like real dum-dums would make you your enemy, right? Like if you're an actor and you're like, I'm not gonna be nice to these people, it's like, ooh, bad choice.
Yeah.
And I think on the flip side, if you're like, you have a good relationship, it's like,
it's probably where you hear the best stories.
Hear the best stories, like have you're working together, you're working towards the same goal, right? Making you look fucking fresh.
Yep. Also, there's a little behind the scenes makeup thing. I got the Criterion edition of Pan's Labyrinth.
Ah.
There's a great little outtake of Doug Jones, who of course plays the Fawn and the Pale Man, in his Pale Man makeup, and he's in, the makeup trailer. And they put a little rouge on him and then put a wig on him. And he's talking like some old vampy theater lady, and he's like, "Oh, my time in the theater. It's the funniest shit."
That's awesome.
I bet that happens 10 times a day in the makeup trailer, so. Watch special features, people. There's good stuff on them.
Amy Heckerling was asked by Paramount to write a film for teenagers. She remembered reading and connecting to Jane Austen's Emma when she was in high school. Decided to adapt that into a modern setting.
Good idea.
I don't think Jane Austen gets the love, say, that sports or TV gets, but to that section of book reading girls who read books, that wide swath of individuals, I gotta think that everything Jane Austen, especially Emma, especially Pride and Prejudice, just, means something to them.
For sure. I mean,
And
it's
this will not be the last time Jane Austen comes up in this season either.
ooh, really?
Ooh, teaser. Teaser.
Even I don't know which one that is. Because I didn't do my homework.
It's good. The film was well received upon its release and has endured as a modern teen classic in its 22-year lifespan. Clueless also spawned a TV series and a book series, is relevant in pop culture, especially now that we have this 90s revival.
Yep.
Iggy Azalea, the fancy music video, is a direct homage to Clueless, which I don't think I realized when I watched it. It's been a while. It's been a while for me.
There's some pretty direct ripoffs. So.
Ooh, ripoffs. Ooh.
Yeah.
I will say, speaking of ripping off, I watched that TV show. It was bizarre because everyone... I would love to hear the behind the scenes on it. Everyone came back except for the main...
Except for Alicia Silverstone.
And her dad.
Huh. And Dan,
But everyone
Dan
else is back.
Zendaya.
Everyone else is back.
Interesting.
Weird. I gotta think there's some chicanery in contracts. But,
There might have been.
But who knows?
Of course, she got the role as a Batgirl a few years later in the ill-fated Batman and Robin. So maybe they thought she was going to be a big star and have the big franchise, and then we all know what happened.
I'm counting Batman vs Superman as a Batman movie.
Sure, of course.
That is the worst Batman movie. Batman and Robin.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yep.
Apparently, the commentary is really entertaining. Joel Schumacher basically apologizes for it.
Oh man, what a dark and lonesome road that was.
Yes.
But yeah, the TV show, I remember liking it. I'm not sure why I was watching it. I gotta think my brother had something to do with it because he was very into the teen. He was very into Degrassi and Clueless and Saved by the Bell. He always loved the teen high school shit,
Gotcha.
dramedy, comedy.
You get the very special episode every now and then, but then, yeah, it's like, oh, this is a Screech episode.
I remember that.
How's jail treat you, Dustin Diamond?
I remember the episode where they were talking about drugs, and then Jesse takes a bunch of caffeine pills or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so scared, Zach. Too
I
good.
don't really remember the Clueless TV show.
I remember it was on ABC, but I watched it on UPN. I'm not sure if it moved networks or what. And also, I don't think people. I think pretty quickly it wasn't like this movie of great acclaim. Now it's a TV show. I think they're just kind of like, this exists. Watch it or don't. I don't know. That's my memory of it. I don't know. The truth, who knows what that is.
Or maybe they kind of already were developing a show like that and kind of retrofitted it to be a Clueless show.
I don't know. That's a good point.
Maybe.
Interesting. As of this recording, Clueless is available for purchase on all physical and digital platforms, and is currently streaming on Netflix in the USA. Terms and conditions may apply.
Contact your local Netflix.
Kev, have you seen this movie?
I have. I remember much more about, not when I finally watched it start to finish, but when it first came out and just took the world by storm. Like, all of a sudden, in my little corner of the world, Eastern Washington, the whole Valley Girl thing just, like, took off. And that was just a lifestyle.
That is unbelievable to me. So they were all dressing like schoolgirls, like when it's like fucking freezing outside?
And saying as if and whatever, and going to the mall and
As if.
being high fashion. And, yeah, it's like that whole thing just really took off.
Interesting. See, I grew up in the Bay Area, and there was always that rivalry with LA. So I gotta think a lot of people, even if they like this movie, were like, "Oh, but LA, fuck LA." Yeah. And as an adult, especially someone who's lived in LA, and I don't know if that still exists there because I don't talk to any teenagers in fucking the Bay Area, but it's like LA is cool, the Bay Area is cool. They're all cooler than other parts of the world. Like, it's kind of like they should be friendly. Like, like, hey man, LA is like the down south. Fucking Bay Area's up north, like we got it covered. You know what I mean?
One state, two very different regions. But yeah, we can all get along.
Why
we
not?
all like a lot of the same stuff.
5 hours away by car, 45 by plane. No big deal. Hopefully, like
2 hours by train.
by Hyperloop.
Yeah,
Hyperloop. Let's Hyperloop the whole world. Can we do it?
I want to jump straight to portals. Can we just do
Well,
portals?
listen. We all want
Not teleporting, just portals.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We all want to rip space and time, but Kev, it's just difficult.
I know,
difficult.
but
So yeah, no, I didn't. The Valley Girl thing didn't. Although I feel like I don't even know if I watched this movie. I feel like I have. I feel like I know things about it, but then maybe I'm confusing it with the TV show. I don't know, Kev. I don't know. But what I do know is that that people did start saying like a lot after this movie came out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's related. I'm not sure.
I bet it was part of it, though.
Are you familiar with the work of Amy Heckerling?
I am, a little bit. She also did Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
1982, as well as Christmas Vacation and Look Who's Talking.
And those terrible Look Who's Talking movies, which I only remember seeing in the theater when I was, like, really young.
And 2012's Vamps.
Vamps, huh?
With Alicia Silverstone and Kirsten Ritter.
Ah, interesting.
Another Weinstein Company movie that half came out, you know?
Just kind of didn't get the full support that it needed, it sounded like.
It seems like, I don't know. I don't want to cast it. Who knows? But I remember it kind of just came and went.
Yeah.
So, are you a fan of her work or what?
Yeah, I think, Fast Times at Ridgemont High has this reputation of being like a teen sex comedy.
Which it's not.
It is very much not. It is a teen drama with some comedy bits thrown in it.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and some sweet nudity for a teenager.
Phoebe Cates.
I watched that movie when I was like in high school. I mean, no, maybe before high school. I might have been in middle school, and it was just like
an entire generation of boys went through puberty just by Phoebe Cates alone.
Mm-hmm. And also, God bless.
God bless. But yeah, there's an abortion in that movie. There's some real heady existential stuff that goes on there. And then you have Spicoli being like a goob.
And listen, here's my thesis statement. Fuck the 90s. Okay, so everyone looks back in the 90s like, oh, it's so cool, it's so great. You know what I mean? Vans shoes in the 90s. I was getting into skateboarding, right? So you couldn't find fucking slip-ons with the checkerboard. They were all of the shoes that you associate with Vans, all the low tops, the high tops, the Eras, the Dogtown, the Z-Boys. That was all thrown aside. They had, I think in the late 80s, trying to make football shoes, and kids were not buying that shit. And then they're making really techie, gross looking, just stupid shoes. Like, so frustrating.
All the like Nike bullshit.
Yeah. They're baby Nike, but like for who? Because if you like Nike, you'll buy Nikes.
Yeah.
So it's like Nikes for kids because Nike wasn't in skateboarding at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like if you really wanted to skateboard it. Anyways, so I remember seeing this movie, my mind was blown. I went on the Vans website, and you look at like salons sold out. They never came back ever. And I didn't live in anywhere where you could. I didn't understand that you could probably find it was before online shopping was big. I didn't understand like, if I went to the city, maybe I could find them in the city of San Francisco or Berkeley or maybe even Oakland. I didn't understand any of that. So, yeah, man, the 90s fashion terrible.
Bad times.
Bad times.
The Jinko jeans.
So what do you more? I'll admit, I had some Jinko jeans, and then down below some really shitty Vans that they don't make anymore. What are you more worried about? 90s fashion staying or the early 2000s fashion coming back?
Both terrible options, but
Agreed.
I would say I could live with 90s fashion if it means we don't have to do early 2000s.
I agree. Okay,
that was a dark time.
That's a good point, and it's like the 90s fashion's already here, so we can let it ride out for a couple more years.
Let all those grunge bands get their paychecks on the reunion tours.
Right.
Let them eat for 10 more years.
And I'm not excited about new metal. I feel like not excited about that.
Because I don't think anybody looks too fondly back on it, so I don't know if it's a genre that can.
So you think when
Korn is still a thing apparently.
Yeah, they're headlining some big festival.
Yeah, it's like Download Festival or something. They're
unbelievable.
Yeah. Like they just had a new album come out to like rave reviews and
so you don't think that the nostalgia from Limp Bizkit's gonna come back full force?
Yeah, not in the same way that like Soundgarden and Nirvana and stuff like that is kind of ruined right now. I don't see it.
I don't think we need to talk about why this movie was chosen. It's it's a very girly movie. From my memory of it, it was very fun. Like I remember it being very silly and fun.
That's what I remember.
So I guess the real question is, what is our expectations coming up for this?
I kind of want to gain a new perspective on it. I want to see, is it kind of just that fun movie? Because I feel like I know I've seen it, I just don't remember much of it.
See, and that's my fear, Kev, is that because I'm
It's gonna just go in one ear and out the other.
in the sense of like, and I think the comparison is to Adam Sandler. It's like you look back on his filmography. I give credit to The Wedding Singer, which is a really good movie, and maybe some of Happy Gilmore, but the rest of it does not hold up. No. I'm afraid that this is gonna be like, this is a '90s movies for '90s kids, and now that we're adults, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
but we'll find out.
We'll find out. That's why we're here.
Let's get into it.
Here we go.
And we're back. Kev, did you watch Clueless?
I did.
Like I asked you to?
Yeah, I did. Watched, Christy owns it on DVD, actually, so we watched her DVD copy of it.
I also watched it on DVD from the library. Support your local library, unless it sucks. Then, it's different branch.
Go to the better one.
Overall thoughts.
This is a much deeper movie than what I remember. And deep in terms of how well constructed and put together it is. And I was shocked at how much I liked it this second go around.
I agree with you. I'd say this movie is smart. It's funny. It's fun. Broadly speaking, it's very good. And I think, and this is a very high compliment, I feel like it's very well thought out.
Yes.
I feel like there's not a lot of chaff. This delicious wheat.
Yep.
But not the chaff.
So it's an oddly... Watching it again, most teen movies, your Bring It Ons, your She's All That's. Yeah, there we go. Brought that one out of the mothballs. They're pretty 3-act structure, straightforward type stories. And Clueless really isn't. It's kind of a free-flowing narrative that doesn't really have a inciting incident, an antagonist, it doesn't really have that, but it's completely compelling top to bottom. There's no fat on it. I don't think anywhere. And it still tells a really fun, complete story, and it goes by in a breeze. But yeah, it just doesn't have the same beats that you would normally see in a teen movie.
And I agree with that.
Which is very much like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I agree with that completely, and it's interesting because there's jokes that you think are like throwaway jokes or that won't really build to anything, you know? And then it seems like it's all connected, right? Like she's always bugging her dad to take his pills and eat healthy, and then when she's really down and below, he gives her credit for that, even though he's been resisting her the whole time.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that was gonna happen. And there's a bunch of stuff like that happens, like, like you think that her being bad at driving is gonna be that's just gonna be a recurring gag, but then it kind of leads to some stuff where she fails the driving test, and then that plays into how she feels directionless and how her dad and her brother are like, hey, you're directionless, and maybe I am.
Yeah.
It's like they do this makeover, and then the makeover lets you know that they're gonna do another. It's just there's a lot of different pieces, and I feel like they do all interconnect in this bizarre tapestry that is. And because it's such a poppy bubblegum movie, you don't really notice it in that way. I feel like people give Inception a lot of praise, but it's like this movie in terms of building an interconnecting thing much stronger than that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, well, this is the Inception of teen girl movies.
It's interesting you say Inception, because Inception and Clueless, they walk a really fine line of art and commerce.
Mm-hmm.
They both work purely as entertainment film. Inception is a high concept heist movie. Clueless is a teen comedy, just about being a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And they both work just on that level alone. But you go just one layer under the onion, and there's so much more craftsmanship going on under it. We'll focus on Clueless, obviously. We can do Inception later. But for Clueless, that script is really tight,
mm-hmm.
as free form as the plot seems.
Exactly.
Because there's very intricate little callbacks to certain elements of it, and the way Cher's arc goes throughout the whole story and how she ultimately grows as a person is not the same way you see in a lot of teen films, or a lot of films for that matter.
And I feel like that is dusted with comedy.
Yes.
and so it feels really good when it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. I'm really impressed with this movie.
It's a movie with no antagonist.
Yes, and it could have her friend with the red hair.
Yeah.
They could have very easily made her the bitch, the bad guy. They could easily have made the dad the bad guy.
Could have made Dad bad. Could have made Wallace Shawn's hard ass teacher the bad guy. You know, the debate teacher. But they all have their redeeming, endearing qualities, and they never kind of fall in the trap of making anybody one note. So, and that's true of all the characters. Like, Cher is supposed to be, we're supposed to think of her as kind of the superficial Hollywood girl, Beverly Hills girl.
Mm-hmm.
But we learn throughout the course of the story, she's pretty smart and she's pretty savvy. She knows kind of how to get what she wants in a good way, not in a manipulative way. And then, yeah, her dad, he's kind of grumpy and he yells, but he really cares about his daughter, and he has, like, a personality all his own.
Mm-hmm.
You get her friend, Dion, you know, you think of her as kind of like the street smart, she's the black friend, the token black friend, but she also has a whole different dynamic.
That's totally subverted too, because
Sure.
in a shittier movie she would have been the streetwise black friend.
Yeah.
She's just like her. They're
exactly.
both Beverly Hills girls.
Yep, they totally are.
Which is so perfect because it's like, yes, that's what they would be.
Yep.
Rich chicks.
Hanging out at West Side Pavilion.
Oh, god damn them. That's where they were at.
But yeah, the characters are just very strong in it. And yeah, the way it keeps subverting all of it is what really moves the plot along, as opposed to something like She's All That, where the goal is like, oh, let's make the ugly girl hot. You know? That's one little element in this movie, is the let's make the ugly girl hot.
Yeah, there's a lot of teen movies going on. Also, the way the movie feels, if this was part of like a series of movies, I would totally believe it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It feels, and speaking of all the things you're saying, it feels like this world is like, you know, it's like it feels like they have had already talked about her driving, and they're going to talk about it more in the future. Everything feels like, you know, like they're talking about doing drugs, they're talking about sex, all of these things feel like we're just coming into it now, but there's been conversations in the past, right, that they allude to. Yeah. You know, like, she's like, oh yeah, like, Cher doesn't date high school boys, and she's like, and the way they're talking is she's already come to this conclusion that was last movie, but there is no last movie.
Yeah, no, it's just very well thought out characters.
Can we talk about Paul Rudd for 1 second?
Yeah.
What is Paul Rudd doing to have never aged a day in his life? Is it dyeing the hair? Does he get work done, you know, surgery wise? Diet, exercise, genes, some other thing that we don't even know about?
He looks the same in this movie as he did in Ant-Man, as he did in Captain America Civil War, as he did in Wet Hot American Summer.
Are they taking the stem cells out of his stomach and then spinning them around and putting them back in?
The dude just takes care of himself, and I want the Paul Rudd diet. Good job, Paul Rudd.
And this movie is fun. I mean, we've said it before, but it's funny. Like the scene with them on the freeway with D when D's driving, that just goes off the rails.
Yep, they're just completely bugging out, and yeah, it's like every teenage fear of getting on the freeway is just fulfilled. It's you're blocking. There's semi trucks honking at you. There's old ladies flipping you off, and
then when the 18-wheeler's coming up on them, and it's just like it's so ominous, so funny.
And and then there's great little lines like, you know, she says, "This is my friend Dion. We're both named after singers who now do infomercials." Just quick little snappy lines like that.
This is my house is totally old. Like the columns date back to 1972.
Yep.
So good. So many things. I mean, I feel like we really like this movie. Is there anything that like didn't work for you?
Not especially.
Yes.
When I think about it, it's pretty tight. There's no moment that feels too superfluous. It's just very lean. There's no real jokes that fall flat. Nothing feels overly 90s, even though it's very much a 90s movie.
Other than the clothes, but
but they're a function of the environment.
Right.
You know, every movie is a period piece, right?
Right.
So,
and this one is especially.
But yeah, it never feels like overly, we're doing this because like the 90s are cool, man. It's like, this is just the world that they live in.
Yeah.
You would go to a Mighty Mighty Bosstones show.
Which, by the way, I love the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, and I love the fact that they're in this movie. Although, no live concert I've ever been to feels like what that was.
Yeah.
It was a very bizarre, like what is like a school dance with the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah, they're there. So yeah, it's maybe it paid well. I don't know.
I mean, they'd be
Those Beverly Hills high schools have to be pretty ubiquitous.
I guess.
Or good gigs.
The skateboard contest felt bland, but I think it's a means to an end. It helps the plot along. It's not poorly written or whatever. Just Hollywood's relationship with skateboarding is just really, really bad.
I mean, Thrashing's like the greatest movie ever.
Okay, here's the thing. At best, Hollywood's relationship with skateboarding is like your grandpa's relationship with skateboarding. So if they're like, let's take this skateboarding thing that apparently kids like, and let's tell the Romeo and Juliet story, right? That's really the best you could hope for if grandpa's doing this.
Yeah.
God forbid they give it to a young person to talk about. But then every other movie that has skateboarding in it is just like X Games, Ryan Sheckler,
Doing kicky flips.
Trickery.
Yep. Whoa!
Which one are you? Are you the Cowabunga ones? Yeah.
They're a tough outfit.
Vin Diesel bombing a hill on a longboard.
Yep.
Yes. But and then I will say that it's weird in this movie, and I think this comes from Emma, and that's a very different time in our history. But she's 16, he's 19, and the brother
Paul Rudd's 19.
Yeah, Paul Rudd's 19, and they're like siblings.
Step siblings.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, I get it. Like, I get that. Like, so apparently in Emma was something. Apparently in Emma, they have a platonic relationship, and people describe them as if they're brother and sister because it's like platonic, and then they end up getting together. In this, I feel like it is teasing that incestuous angle, right? It's like teasing. I feel like it's teasing it.
It's very lighthearted. I mean, they kind of talk about like, no, ew, he's my stepbrother, but it's not like leering or strange.
It's not insidiously done, but I just think that there's some people who are like, oh, that movie's fucking hot.
Oh, yeah, there's that crowd out there.
I mean, I don't know anyone really well who has like step siblings. So I don't know if this is a thing. And listen, nobody is talking about their incestuous fantasies. That's like, if you had them, you wouldn't really be talking about them. Yeah, but
we don't throw those kind of parties. So.
No, we don't.
But they're out there if you need them.
I bet they are. Any cool stuff that you want to this pick out here?
Probably the most 90s sentence ever said. Can't find my Cranberries CD.
It's pretty 90s. Zombie's a great song, though.
It is a good song.
The dressing computer, which was very, bizarre at the time, really should be an app.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she doesn't trust mirrors, so she takes Polaroids of all her clothes. Such a good throwaway joke.
It's a good gag. So, I said Dan Hedaya is great. Wallace Shawn is great as the debate coach. Again, could have been an ogre type antagonist teacher, but he really has some warmth to him.
Yeah.
And Wallace Shawn is great.
How bold are they with the slang? Like, what if? I mean, I don't know if as if or whatever was being said by Beverly Hills children at the time, but. Who knows how that would travel, right? And we know it traveled well, but I just feel like they really went all in on like,
sure.
This is how these people talk, and if you don't like it, sorry.
It's in almost a bizarre comparison. It's almost like a Clockwork Orange in a way, where it's
you're gonna have to elaborate on that one, homie.
There's whole other language that's
okay, yeah.
Because Clockwork Orange is the Droog speak, but they don't give you any kind of glossary to tell you. You just figure out through context what they're saying. And I think Clueless is kind of oddly similar because, we know these phrases now, but in the time that came out, that's like, I don't know, you could have released this movie in Spanish at that point. But yeah, it is a bold decision to really throw people into the sharks of this dialogue and just have to figure out what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the as-ifs and all their little catchphrases they have, it's people just had to learn that through context, and they did, and then they started running with it because that's how every 90s girl talked.
And I just have to go back to the another cool thing is just the way that the structure of the thing goes, where she's trying to hook up her friend with this dude, and then the dude likes her, and then she gets out of his car and she gets robbed at gunpoint, and you think, okay, that's the end of that story. But then Brittany Murphy gets hung from the like the boys are teasing her, and they're like gonna like drop her, you know.
Yeah.
And then she said, then Cher brings up, oh, I also had a near death experience recently, but no one cares because now Dion and Cher are more popular. Dion and Brittany Murphy are more popular than Cher because Dion had sex with whatever because of the car. It's just, all of these things just weave where two separate storylines, the car storyline and hooking the friend up, both lead to Cher being unpopular.
Yeah.
And not unpopular, but just not as popular as someone else.
Exactly. Not in the same strata that she was at the beginning.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just a very intricately woven story, and it's, you know, you don't expect it coming from what's supposed to be sort of a vapid teen comedy, but the craftsmanship is really there and it's really strong.
So I think before I watched this movie, I thought that this movie was making fun of rich girl LA. You know what I mean? The Beverly Hills princess, if you will. Do we think, now that we've seen it, do you think it does?
I think it, again, we're talking towing lines here. It walks a line of satire, where satire is usually used to skewer something and really put it down, like Dr. Strangelove or something like that. But it's like a loving satire. Kind of like the way Christopher Guest makes movies.
What's the thing that's not satire, but it's like satire?
Parody.
It's not parody.
Yeah.
And it's not really satire. It's like, it's not afraid to take it down when it's convenient to a joke.
Yeah, it's not precious.
But it's also not afraid to elevate these characters too. And Donald Faison's like, while hip hop lyrics, there's such a great quote that he said. Hold on a second.
Yeah, let's look that up.
The quote was, Donald Faison says, most female pronouns, he's talking about hip hop music, most female pronouns have a mocking but not misogynistic undertone. And it's just like, you know, every now and again, the characters, they'll redeem them. They'll say something smart. They'll be smart. And this is another thing, is that we see Cher, it's interesting the perspective the movie gives, where it's not sucking her dick. It does note that she's smart. She got a 98 in geometry. I didn't get a fucking 98 in geometry when I went to high school. So it's not afraid to point out that she's smart, but it doesn't dwell on her being smart. It's dwelling on the parts of her that she needs to work on, right? Her relationship with boys, her thoughts on that, like, you know, finding herself, being a good person, all of that. So it's interesting because she's not, it'd be really easy just to make her fucking dumb. But she's good at math. She's not good at debate. And there's a logic to that because sometimes people are good at English but not science or whatever.
And, how does she pronounce Haitians? Haitian. Haptian or something like that.
Which apparently is how she mispronounced it and they kept it in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, it allows her to fall down so she can learn. Mm-hmm. And it does it in really smart ways. With the failure at her driving test. Yeah. That's kind of one of her lowest lows. Mm-hmm. Discovering that Christian is gay. Trying to
seduce, and then they tease that, and then in her seduction of him, she keeps fucking it up, and they're not afraid to make her silly in the butt of the joke. So she tries to, like, you know, like, kind of give her, like, the bikini pose, and she falls off the bed.
Yep. And watching Spartacus with Tony Curtis and in the scene where, like, he's trying to court him, and it's...
He's like, oh, I want to watch this scene.
Yeah, he just, like, is very intent. It's just, the little subtle cues they do, and again, are they kind of making fun of her a little bit? Yeah, it's like, obviously Christian's gay. But isn't that kind of how we learn those things as a teenager? We kind of learn it by screwing up.
And the humor in that is not mean-spirited. No. Right? And it could have been, like, it could have been very easy to make Donald Faison's character, Donald Faison tells him that he's gay, but he says it with no judgment. The only, like, it's like, he's gay, like, I'm telling you he is, like, that's what I know. He's not like, oh, he's a queer, there's no pejorative there. It's like, you're trying to court a gay man, like, it's not gonna, newsflash, it's never gonna work. Yeah. Because he's gay. He doesn't like you in that way. Yep. And I like how that's done.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just, this movie really works as a portrait of just teenage life. And how, when you're a teenager, you think you're hot shit, but then you're actually kind of stupid. But then that's how you learn, is by being kind of stupid.
Right.
You know, by making dumb, silly mistakes.
I I agree. And I think in the end, this movie works. I like it. I think it's a fleshed out world. It feels like a bigger world that you're getting a little slice of. And
it's really well made too.
Yeah. It's
from a production standpoint, Bill Pope was the cinematographer. He's the same guy that shot The Matrix and like other huge action movies, and he did this, you know, and it's a great looking movie. It's well edited. It's well put together. There's no bad performances in it. It's just, man, it caught me off guard.
And it has this interesting tone where if it does a cliche thing like having like the having the lesbian gym teacher, you know, it does some of those things, but then how it executes them never feels cheap.
Oh, for sure.
Which is like, wow, you know, like, good, thank you,
yeah,
you know,
and kind of like the mousy English teacher, you know, that she hooks Wallace Shawn up with. They could have done like a real caricature of that, but she's a fleshed out character. She's just kind of a dorky teacher. You know?
Exactly.
And just everybody just gets their little moment there, and it's a well populated world.
Sequel or reboot idea? Do you have one?
Don't need it.
They kind of already did with the TV show.
Yeah.
If I was going to change it, I would not have them be stepbrother and sister, and I would have her be 18 and him be like 20.
Okay.
But that's just me.
You don't want to be too skeeved.
Yeah, just turn that a little bit down.
Hey, she's learning still. She's learning.
And I will say also, Amy Heckerling, make some more fucking movies. Where are you at?
She's been doing a lot of TV work.
Oh, does she?
She does like The Office and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
But yeah, if she can write this well, I mean...
That's what I'm saying. It's like, whoa.
You know, Fast Times is a good movie. She didn't write that one. Cameron Crowe wrote that. But, you know, you can write something like this and direct it like that. Get back in the saddle.
I would love to see her, in this same way, write and direct and tackle a horror movie.
Sure. I'd like to see her do a superhero movie.
Interesting.
Get her on the horn for Captain Marvel. Yeah, no?
That's a good suggestion.
She could pull it off.
All right, Kev. Now that you've left me with a lot to think about, right then, what manly thing are you going to do after this episode wraps up?
Let's see. I picked my toe with a knife. I'm going to drink a whole bottle of whiskey and shoot a gun.
And I'm just going to take a little cat nap.
Oh boy.
You know.
You've had
It's a little kitty cat nap.
And get a foot rub.
In the sun.
Well, of course.
And then maybe I'll have to wake up and move back to the sun when the sun's moved away from me. But, you know.
Rub your tummy and then...
Well, someone else will be rubbing my tummy.
Well, of course. Yeah. That's pretty manly.
Until I'm done with them and then I'm going to run away.
There you go.
Hide behind the TV.
Yeah.
That's it for us. This episode written by Kev. Music by Jeff Russell. I'm Mr. Jibber Jabber. That's Kev. We'll see you outside of the Circus Liquor. Watch your purse.
And your satin shoes. Your satin shoes?
Not very practical.
Nah, not very.